There are over 500,000 kids in foster care across the United States, and making sure they're well taken care of takes a village. I'm Erin Lindstrom, and this is Foster Care Aware, a production brought to you by Tidewater Friends of Foster Care with support from the Barry Robinson Center. If you've had it on your heart to become a foster parent, volunteer, donor, advocate, or just want to learn more, you're in the right place. For more information on how to move forward, head to fostercareaware.org/next steps. And now I'm thrilled to share today's segment with you. Hey, I'm Erin Lindstrom, and I am here with Audra Bullock, the president and founder of Tidewater Friends of Foster Care. And we're here with our final segment for Foster Care Aware. So first of all, we just want to say a huge thank you for being here, whether you've watched one video or 40 videos. Thank you for being on the journey, and thank you for being excited about learning more, and thank you for showing up in whatever way you're showing up right now, because that is important, and that is what will actually create sustainable change inside the world of foster care. So to start us off in this final segment, there have been these themes that have been coming up in all of the interviews and all of the different segments that we have been doing with different leaders in the foster care arena. And today we kind of want to chat about those a little bit and then introduce you to Tidewater Friends of Foster Care, because I've mentioned it 40 plus times, but we haven't really gone into the heart of what they do, and it's incredible. And then we're just going to send you off with some final suggestions and different places you can go to get the support that you need to take that next step. So with that, let's jump into the recurring themes. So the first one that came up over and over again is to get a support system together, because as a foster parent or as anyone in the foster care system that's helping, you really need a village. So you were here and you were in this group on Facebook, hopefully, called TFFC Village, and this is the virtual component of that. And I think a really interesting thing here is that we all get to create a village in our lives. You have people who want to support you. And a lot of times, if you are thinking about becoming a foster parent, it can be very scary to have an undertaking like that. And what you'll see is that as you start to share with people in your life that, hey, I'm considering doing this, and I kind of need to know that you'll have my back, is that people want to gather around you and people want to support you. And a lot of times they've thought about helping, but they are not ready to be a parent. And if you are ready to step up to the plate, they would love to be your backup plan. They would love to bring you dinner and to build a community, right? Like within your home, and meet the child and be a part of their extended family. So building that village and really knowing that you're not alone in this is a huge piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely, Erin. Another recurring thing that we've heard is to shift your mindset to be child-centric, to pouring love into a child. It's their medicine. Really, these children are in crisis when they come into foster care, as well as their families. And the best thing that you can do for them is put your own stuff aside and love them. Love them like they're yours. But again, we've heard this over and over. Be ready to let them go. And the way you do that, the way you survive that, is by focusing on them, bringing everybody into their sphere to help them and helping their family. And it makes all the difference. We said it once or twice. It's like a kidney donation. It's going to hurt, but you know what? It's really going to make a world of difference for some people that are in grave and dire circumstances sometimes. So that's the most important thing.
Yep, absolutely. And that goes right into our next one that we heard a lot, which is about building a relationship with the family of origin, because the child needs you to do this. And so this came up on a couple calls where really taking that focus into the child's eyes of, oh, they just completely switched worlds and they're in a different family. And it is so important for that child's self-esteem and worthiness to remind them or to be there for them when they miss their parents, because they will, because all of us want to be with our parents, right? It's biologically inside of us. When they have that, you get to hold space for them to feel that and to not villainize their parent, but instead to just understand where they're coming from. And then it is up to you to really kind of build that bridge. That way they can, if it is safe, find a safe way to interact so they know what to expect there. And maybe if the, biological parent isn't available, we can look a little larger. And if there are just family members who want to be involved, it's really just taking that zoomed out approach to who's here and what would be best for the child, and how can I help build bridges rather than burn them down? Because as we heard, when the child grows up, they're going to want to know the family of origin. They're going to have questions and curiosity. So the more we can do when they are children to make that a healthy relationship, the better that will have an outcome in the long run.
Absolutely. And to do that, Erin, it really takes flexibility. And that has been another thing that we've heard from agency after agency. The number one thing I think each resource worker has said is flexibility. And what does that mean, really? It means being able to figure it out as you go along, be okay with whatever happens. Being okay with the fact that you don't know. There's going to be a lot of ambiguity going forward. Nobody really knows how these custody cases are going to end, but keep showing up and remember to shift your part in this whole process to meet the needs of the child. Again, you can't be rigid. You're not going to control this. You kind of got to go with the flow and be okay with that. And that's letting go of a lot of control and power. But if you focus back on the child, that's the easy way to let it go, to be flexible, to just be there and redefine your success. As Melissa Corkum said, your success is showing up every day. That's what you can control, and that's what you got to be good at.
Yep, absolutely. It's all about showing up with that open heart and open mind as you're navigating. And I think that flexibility is so interesting because, like, in some ways it's so easy to say, oh yes, I'm flexible, I can go with the flow. But when you're put in the position of actually being in the flow, it can be hard emotionally to be going through that. And that's really where the village comes into play, is who's wrapped around you, who do you have to talk to, who can hold space for you while you're holding space for the child, and really just making sure you have people who've got your back. So with that, Tidewater Friends of Foster Care is an incredible organization that really does that actually is the village, right? And really wraps around these kids and the families of the foster youth. And so, Audra, can you tell us a little bit more about Tidewater Friends of Foster Care and what do they do in the community? Tell us about the programs and all that jazz.
Of course. So our primary mission really is to bring people into the sphere of of foster care. Can support these children and their families, foster families. So our core mission is really recruiting people, and to that is then supporting the people that are in the foster care system. That's the children, that's the birth families, that's the foster families, with services that social service agencies can't easily provide. So, for example, we run a tutoring program, and we heard from Tiffany on that. It's one of our major impact programs where we're hiring professional teachers, educators to go into the home and support these children academically, help move them forward, because there's a lot of academic gaps for kids in care. But some of the other programs, we have an extracurricular program where it's like a mini grant program where we're not necessarily, teaching the yoga classes, but we're bringing together community resources and funds to help kids get into extracurricular activities. And principally because, studies show that kids that have extracurricular activities, things outside of the classroom, they perform better on classroom activities and SAT scores and things like that, because it's skill sets that are not necessarily innately taught in a classroom that they're building outside, as well as confidence and healthy adult relationships. One thing that is always occurred to me throughout this journey in foster care is it only takes one healthy adult relationship to change the entire world for a child. The problem is we don't get to choose that relationship. They do. And so we've got to get them in front of as many healthy adult relationships, because it is also an example of how to walk the walk. It is showing them how to build healthy relationships when you put them in front of healthy relationships. So our extracurricular program also partners principally with the YMCA to provide YMCA memberships. Again, it's a family-centered activity, much more than a gym. It's water safety, it's sports, it's camps. It's it's a lot of things that children outside of foster care get access to that when children enter foster care, they don't always have easy access. So we try and remove those barriers by facilitating those things. We do summer camps in the summer. And we also do birthday and holiday gifts. That's kind of the origin of the entire organization, was trying to fill that gap, which social services doesn't receive funding for. They can't use state or federal funds to get birthday and holiday gifts. They rely on the community to do that. And so, you know, we endeavor to bring more people into the sphere to do that for our local social service agency, and that kind of blossomed into everything else. For us, you know, those gifts are really important to a child, to make sure that they're acknowledged on those very special days, but also that are very hard for them. They're reminders of where they aren't right with their family, that sometimes birthdays are extremely difficult because children in foster care feel unworthy, feel like they shouldn't be actually even exist. We've heard that before. And so this is a way to make sure that they're acknowledged. But it also is a way to bring people in connection with them, to make people realize that these are very real children. They have all the same hopes and dreams and aspirations as our birth children, and that they need to be nurtured and wrapped around and acknowledged and valued. So it's really something to help make foster care brighter, to bring some light into what has seemingly been a dark space for far, far too long.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. And then, of course, Tidewater Friends of Foster Care is also at the helm of the entire foster care aware event. So there's always, it seems like you're always over there scheming and kind of thinking bigger, and how can we bring this to more people? Because there are people that care, and foster care just really isn't something that many people talk about, because it's hard to think about, and it hurts our hearts to even like bring it into our awareness. So I think Tidewater Friends of Foster Care has done a really incredible job of making this a little more accessible and giving people the tools to think about it and the tools to take the next step of helping, no matter what that looks like for them. Because there is room for volunteers, there's room for donors, there's room for advocates, there's room for parents, there's room, no matter what, if you care, there's a place for you within the village. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. So thank you, Audra, for putting on Foster Care Aware.
Oh, thank you, Erin. Erin, this has been your workhorse. This virtual summit has been incredible. I cannot say enough about how well it came together, from a panic moment of, oh my goodness, we've got to cancel Foster Care Aware community event at the Opera House because of COVID, and it's blossomed into this, I think, very beautiful, very evergreen body of work that is much more far-reaching than we could have ever done. So Erin, my hats off to you, my deepest appreciation for all that you and Derek and Danielle have done to bring this together. It's really amazing.
Yeah, our pleasure. This is meaningful work. And so no matter what, you know, if you're listening to this, there's a way where you get to show up and use your work and use your purpose to make it meaningful, right? And actually change the world. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this. And also just a huge shout out to our sponsors who have been incredible. The Barry Robinson Center, who's our title sponsor. This is the village.
American Borate and Sinclair Communications, along with a host of other supporters. It's just been amazing. Our partners, Crossroad Church and Entrusted Network. We've had an overwhelming response to this endeavor, and a lot of people have come together in support of foster care and recruiting foster parents and supporters.
Yep, it's been incredible. And just on the back end, so if you're just watching this and kind of catching some of the snippets, on our end, we've seen people actually step into becoming foster parents. They have signed up with different agencies and are going through the licensing process. We've had about almost 30, I think, applicants for our prospective parent program. So people who are like, ooh, I'm interested in this. I need some support making the decision. We've also seen really cool things inside the community. For example, a child in foster care needed a bike. And so we put it out to the village and they came together to get the child a bike. And so all these little things are happening in the background that are huge. I say little because they seem little, because they're day to day and kind of sprinkled throughout. But when we look at the impact of what something like this creates, it is huge and life-changing. And every time we can do one thing for one child, that changes their entire world, as Audra said. And that can actually change your entire lifespan. Think about the people who are most important to you in your life, or the one thing that happened that kind of changes your trajectory. And we all have the opportunity to be that for someone else. So if you have been listening and you are interested in taking a next step, maybe don't know what it is, fostercareaware.org/next steps will give you 3 options that might be helpful. The first one is to get the Foster Care Aware Guide. So if you just kind of want to scroll through and see who we've interviewed and where to quickly access those videos, you can check that out. The second one is the Prospective Parent Program. If you're feeling like this might be for me, I need more information, I want to talk it out with someone, and before I make the commitment, like I need some help, I need to talk to an expert, join us in there. It is free and incredible. And we're going to be talking all about the mindset shifts that it really takes to be and to kind of like stay in the healthy parent zone as you're navigating through the whole experience. And then thirdly, there is an option to donate there. So if you're feeling like I want to help and parenting isn't for me right now, or you just want to make a quick impact, every single dollar that you donate goes to Tidewater Friends of Foster Care to be used within operations. And I think about 90% of it goes directly to the programs. Is that right, Audra?
95%. Yeah, we're still pretty good. Yeah.
In the nonprofit world. So know that every dollar really makes a difference. This is a community project. We are all part of the village, whether we want to be or not. So thank you for being here. And if we can support you in any way in figuring out how to be of service, we're here to help.
We are.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much, Audra. And thank everyone here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And a big thank you for listening. Foster Care Aware is all about spreading the word about how we can help the kids who are in care in whatever capacity works for you. Tidewater Friends of Foster Care is here to help support you through the journey. Whether you want to be a foster parent, volunteer, donor, or advocate, head on over to fostercareaware.org/next steps to learn more.